A lot of people know Capcom for their biggest titles like Resident Evil, Street Fighter, the Mega Man series, the Devil May Cry, and Monster Hunter series, but sometimes Capcom makes games that are rarely ever talked about. One of their games was a GameCube title called Gacha Force. It was a Capcom version of a gacha game, without it being a true gacha game. Hey there guys, Code Pika here, and welcome to another episode of the Pika Reviews. And today, we're going to be looking at Gacha Force, a third-person shooter fighting game where you and your friends, or the computer, battle it out in an arena. Your goal is to destroy all of the opponent's boards and claim victory. With this interesting cast of characters, whoa, and 209 boards to collect, does Gacha Force still hold up? Well, let's take a look. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for watching the first episode of my review, and really glad you are all looking forward to more in the future. Anyways, let's move on. Our story is short and sweet to the point. A boy named Ko found a toy-like being known as a Gacha Board. The little robot's name is G-Red, and he's a Gacha Board from the planet Mega Board, and his job is to stop the Galactic Emperor and his Death Force army. You recruit and battle a few friends from your town and gather enough GF energy to take on the Galactic Emperor. What's GF energy? Well, it's your energy source that allows you to add more Borgs into your team, but it also ends up allowing the Borgs to end up growing large to end up fighting bigger threats. Once your last fighter is destroyed, the game is over, and that's pretty much the whole game. It's mostly a story-driven fighting game where you keep fighting and fighting until you get to the end. The battles pit you against a total of 4 players, or when fighting in story mode, you may fight 3 or more opponents at once. You have your basic controls, your X button and your B button. Most Borgs has an ammo count, and you will be mostly shooting, and sometimes getting up close to melee your opponent. Some Gacha Borgs have flying movement and multi-jump movement. The camera is always behind you, but sometimes the game's camera can be good and can be questionable for most battles. You will always start the game with G-Red, but as you progress, you will get 10 or 100 GF energy depending on the battle, allowing you to put more Borgs on your team. You will mostly be building your army of Borgs to have many more meat shields. You see, if you just hang on to one Borg, you will surely lose very quickly. The game does get progressively difficult with enemy AI dodging and mostly reading your movements, so don't be too hasty. But Gacha Force is not just about fighting. Its main selling point is its huge collective of Gacha Borgs to obtain, more like 209. You see, as you finish a battle, there's a chance you may obtain a Gacha Borg, and yes, you heard me right, a chance to get a Borg after battle. After each fight, the Gacha Box has a chance to spawn a new Borg, or Data Crystal. Data Crystals need other components to form a new Borg. As you end up doing multiple playthroughs, since there is a New Game Plus, it allows you to end up increasing the drop rate to the point where once you reach playthrough number 8, there's usually a guaranteed that you will always end up getting yourself a different Borg every single time. There are many different types of Gacha Borgs, and they are all separated by different tribes. You got Ninja Borg, Gun Borg, Night Borg, Girl Borg, Machine Borg, Dragon Borg, Musha Borg, Knuckle Borg, Wizard Borg, Nurse Borg, Idol Borg, Bug Borg, Demon Borg, Hero Borg, Wing Borg, Angel Borg, Tank Borg, Air Borg, Fortress Borg, and Death Borg. And all these Borgs play the same and can sometimes be used differently. There are also S, A, B, C, and D rank Borgs, but don't let the ranking system fool you. Some low tier Borgs can sometimes be better than an A. Gacha Force can be a very long and tedious game to 100%. Since it has over 209 Borgs to collect, and you're mostly playing the game a lot to get every single Borg, Gacha Force's gameplay will start to get a bit stale after a while. Nothing really changes about the game. What you see is what you're gonna get, and that's something that makes the game a one-time playthrough for me. As a kid, Gacha Force's repetitive gameplay didn't bother me as much, but as I grew up I started to realize how repetitive and tedious the gameplay can be after a while. They do try to challenge you with unique mission styles, but you're overall still doing the same thing. I fully recommend not one-sitting this type of game. The cast of characters of Gacha Force are interesting to say the least. You have your main character Ko, and as you progress through the story, you start to meet others like Kakeru, Mana, Usagi, Koyami, Kobe, Met, Tatsuya, Kotaru, Yuji, Tama, and the only two interesting characters I find with some backstory and lore are Sho and Orochi. Sho is mostly an edgy boy and rival who acts a little bit like Silver from Gen 2 Pokemon, whose father is implied to have been killed by Gacha Boards, and Orochi is being controlled by the Galactic Emperor if you are unable to recruit her on your team. These two characters are optional, and the only way to get them is by never losing to them once. Each character uses one set of Borgs related to their leader. Some of them are good on your team, while Sho and Orochi, being hard to obtain, have the better AI. Anyways, I should mention there's also voice acting, and what do I think of it?
Yeah! Huh? Hey! Boo-hoo! Right? Aww. Hi there!
Why?
Yeah!
Yes, indeed! Woo! Yes!
Right? Whatever.
Okay!
Whoa!
It's there. But I will admit, the actors that voice these characters do fit the age range. I don't know who voices everyone since the credits can only be found in the option menu, and not only that, I can't even find the English voice actors of this game at all on any site. Seriously, if you search up voice actors for this game, all you're gonna get is articles of people making fun of the game. But anyways, Gacha Force has become a cult classic among a few fans. There has been a server or a site that you can end up joining, a Discord server, where people are still talking about the game to this day and is waiting for Capcom to end up making a sequel. Do I think that this game deserves a sequel? I think a sequel might end up fixing some problems here and there. And since Capcom has been busting out major titles left and right, it would be nice for them to end up going to their obscure titles, allowing a sequel to be shocking for some people and pleasing to fans of this day. With the online capabilities and everything, and with the many Gacha Forces that you can end up utilizing as a team, I really think that this game can be popular today. Overall, one of Capcom's rarest and underrated games, and also a game I think a few people can give a try. I don't recommend trying to find it online, however, because it is a rare game and is very expensive, like most overlooked games. I always find usually the overlooked game seems to be more expensive than the overselling games. It's very weird and also ironic when you think about it. The music is still a favorite of mine, by the way. It's composed by Masahiko Takano, who ends up working on the Mega Man series, well, the Mega Man Battle Network series, and the Minish Cap and JoJo Bizarre Adventure games. He has worked on other titles as well, but if you kind of end up listening to a few of the songs of Gacha Force, you can end up getting a very huge Mega Man vibe. Hell, you might even give it a Mega Man X vibe as well. With a huge collection to gather and the ability to see how each board works, I say this game is worth a try. That's really all I can really end up saying about Gacha Force, by the way. It's a very short review and not much for me to talk about. There is a huge collection of Borgs to showcase, but the thing is that it will take too much time and also a lot of repetitive playthroughs. There are times when if you are playing a second playthrough, since there are like 8 playthroughs you can do, sometimes the challenges ends up changing Borgs, having rare Borgs inside it. It's very weird. But overall, very good game. I suggest you give it a try if you like to. But yeah, that's all I can really say about that. The next review will probably be a little bit longer. Sorry that this one took a little bit long to get out considering its shortness of a video game. But, you know, a lot of stuff happens. Anywho, I will see you guys in the next review. Code Pika, over and out. Latest!